What's up, guys? So here we are, crafting for casuals. I pretty much started crafting end of point zero 0.01. First time playing POE. Wasted a lot of mats because I didn't know how to craft. I was wasting it. I didn't understand tier systems. I didn't understand how to use omens or widows. I wasn't even didn't even have enough divs for that. But I learned towards the end of the season when I had accumulated some divs and I started playing with crafting and finally risking it and just crafting with omens and stuff. And I learned a few things. And I think the main thing about crafting with casuals, just if you're a casual player and you're crafting, and the main thing is try not to waste your income. Arguably, as a casual player, you're probably making a lot of currency. Most of our currency we're throwing into uh, dumb crafts, or we just you know even if it's just 2 3 EX for no reason, it's still you know definitely will add up. Or just chaosing for no reason when the tier system is not even good. So understanding crafting with casuals is just pretty much knowing how to craft and also not wasting your currency, and then that will allow you to kind of build currency as you play, even as a casual player. Now there are players that just play specific to craft and they buy what they need to build for their builds, which is cool too. But for you as a casual player, you want to enjoy the game and also you want to craft. So in this, I'm going to show you how to craft boots. Ever since the introduction of these boots and then bows and then chest pieces, these introductions of these new essences are really amazing. If you haven't even looked at it yet, there are ones that are for boots where you can turn a magic item into a rare item. And it's the only time you can do it. It's just like using a greater essence. And the only time to do it is when, there's a magic item. So it's pretty expensive, essence. So you definitely want to make sure you use it on the right type of boots and also the right tier boots so you're not wasting it. The main goal is to add 100% more efficiency to your socket boots. So that means that if you have 2 sockets, that essence, when you have that stat, is gonna double it. So if you have 2 fire socket runes in there, it's gonna double it. Um, Not double it, 100% more efficiency. So doubling it. So if you have 2 sockets, it's even more. So you're tripling it. So the main thing in this series now is that boots for movement speed. We have these 5% movement speed cores, and people are going all over it because that's 10% if you have 2 socket boosts. If you get lucky with corruption, and you put 2 5% in there, and that becomes 20%. And you want to target 35% movement speed boost to make it worth it. No one's gonna buy a 2 socketed with that greater essence modifier for 1 socket, so it seems like a waste. So how do you figure out what boots you want? There are a lot of boots out there. There are ones that are for armor, evasion, ES only. They're hybrids, but generally the most desired ones are these Doom Runners ones. They are the pure ES ones. So you understand, the boots have different like type of tiers. So the Doom Runner ones are the ones with the little feather. They have a higher ES base compared to the lattice sandals. They're the same type of boots, but it has a lower ES base. So in your quality, it has lower. So the more desirable ones are the ones that you want that has the higher tier and that will roll higher evasion or higher ES. As you can see, that's the lattice one. See, it only can roll certain things, and also tier levels. You want 81 eye level. You want 81 and up. So on my um, filter, I had it set so that any boosts that drop that are normal, tier 81 and up, and evasion and also ES, I can see. And most of the time, you're probably missing it while you're mapping because it's not desired boots. You're looking for rares and stuff like that, but we're not looking for rares here. And it also works with gloves too. The runes also have gloves. As you can see, I just hit a +2 melee on my first augment. So even with white items, you're gonna do is you're gonna hit it with an augment and a transportation to get it to you have 2 mods and a magic mod. And then that's when you're gonna be using your essence to turn into a rare and add the 100%. Just like how these boosts you see I've been working on. This one is 35% movement speed and dexterity. It's really good, but it's ES evasion. So I mean, it's not gonna be my prio. If I want to use a 5 div essence, I want to make sure it's on one of these pure ES or the dragon scales one where it's pure evasion. So dragon scale and doom runners are arguably the fan favorite. Even those that use armor will use those. You don't see a lot of armor. People try to craft the armor evasion, armor ES, because it's just armor is not really that good right now. Even a lot of armor players are wearing, ES or evasion. But anyways, so with that being said, if you can see, I was crafting. I'm just converting, divs into chaos here, because sometimes conversion rate when you go divs into the essences is like a weird conversion rate, and you kind of lose out on a little bit of it. So it's always best to kind of convert to chaos when you buy the expensive ones, and I convert chaos to EX, save yourself a little bit. And here I'm just playing with it because I found a boot, even though. So when you first do the first two hits, you want to make sure you want to hit 35% and then any other modifier. See, I made a mistake here. I wanted to use my essence here, but I forgot, and I hit it with a greater essence to get chaos res. Chaos res is hard to get, so if you can get in your boots, great. If you roll 35% movement speed, and then also your next transmutation is going to be chaos res, that's golden. You're definitely going to slam that with a essence of a hysteria or whatever it is that will be able to turn that into a rare and also add 100% increased socket value. And I do it for gloves also, because I'm trying to look for plus twos. Now, why is this crafting for casuals? When you do hit these, you know, 35% and another modifier boot, the first thing you do is, do you want to craft it or do you want to sell it? Because there are, warrior, hideout warriors that sit and craft all day. They don't have time to run around and get drops and boots and stuff like that. So what do? They go on the trade site and they'll buy the boots. And you can sell them for 1 to 5 divs depending on how good the modifiers are. If you have a 35% movement speed Dune Runner with a high tier, and you have 35 movement speed, and you have Chaos Res as magic to sell as is, they're gonna buy that for like 10, 20 divs, if not more, because they have 2 desirable modifiers already, and they're gonna hit it with the essence, turn into a rare, roll another roll another EX into it, and then they're gonna have to either widow, and then they got the widow to get if the roll didn't come out right. So there's like a lot of process of this. And once you get to the rare, when you have 4 rolls, you can fracture it. And the goal is you want to fracture the 100% increased value. Sometimes you don't hit it. It's a little more risky because anytime you try to whittle anything, it's gonna target that implicit 100% because it doesn't count as a tier. It's like the lowest tier. So the widow's always gonna target it. So when you hit that, fracture and you hit that 100%, then you're golden. Because now you have an ES boot, 35% movement speed, you have chaos res, you have the 100% modifier that's fractured, and you have whatever modifier. So this allows it easier for people to kind of craft and, whittle and then be able to target. Because you don't want to waste essence and then all of a sudden, now your next whittle is going to be removing that essence. But in the video, I'm just like playing around with a lot of these boosts here. You can see, I'm just trying to explain to you guys this is the casual way of doing it. You don't have to craft these 35% movement speed boosts and whittle and all that stuff. You can make quick, fast divs just picking up magic, white items, and rolling transmutations into them, augmenting them, and hopefully, there's so many that drops that you'll eventually, I've been saving these up from like runs, and you'll get the 35% and then whatever modifier. And guess what? People will buy them. They'll buy them for dibs, and it costs you literally nothing. You don't have to go as far as hitting it with the essence if you don't want to, and that's a good way to print dibs. And it's cheap for you, and you're mapping anyways. You're gonna see the drops. Just carry a lot of transportation augments with you. Hit it up right there and then. If you don't see the first 2 modifiers being 35%, throw it away. Same with gloves. If it's not +2, throw it away. Because if it's +2, see those gloves right there, I can definitely sell them as is with a +2 magic for like 5, 10 divs. People will buy it because the +2 is very hard to get. And, that's just a white item that I rolled. I just literally rolled right there when the augment hit a +2. So that's how you make currency with just boots and gloves. Like literally, I'll post my filter into the link below in the video, and you can copy that filter and put it in your folder, and you'll be able to see exactly what I see when I map. Now keep in mind, I only target ES and evasion, boots, gloves, and chest. No hybrid. Yes, hybrid ES evasion. So if you want to make one for yourself with armor, you're gonna have to go in there and customize a little bit to show up for armor too, armor evasion, whatever you need. But That's very simple to do. Just go to like the I can't explain it now. I have to have it in front of me, but if you'll figure it out. But see, these are +2 melee skills. I roll accuracy. I don't know. I don't know. This could be great for, uh, ideally, not really because only Amazon use accuracy. So I was hoping these gloves were for, I was gonna roll like maybe crit or something or, you know, uh, crit bonus or attack speed, and I can use it for something else. But it was kind of a dead roll here, and just to show you, sometimes you do waste mats. I put 5 divs in there ready. I'm gonna hit it with EX. I'm gonna fracture. I got life on kill T1. That sucks. I can't even whittle it because the first thing it's gonna hit is my 100%. So now I'm committed. I've already thrown in maybe 6 divs into these gloves. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm not gonna do anything with it. I'm gonna fracture it just to see if I hit the +2. If I do, great. If I don't, you know, boom, accuracy is dead. Not dead, but like I say, maybe someone playing Amazon, or maybe someone that just needs a +2, or they need some accuracy and they can use it. So I'm not gonna do anything any further than that. I'll let the next buyer do that. So I just put it up for a few, like maybe 5 divs. Probably won't sell, but and maybe someone will stumble across it and they need it for a build or something like that. They have the other roles. But what I'm not gonna do is waste currency. That's one of the biggest things. You don't want to waste currency, because sometimes you have to know when to stop. Crafting is one of those things. When you get tilted, it's gambling. This game is gambling. When you get tilted, you kind of just start slamming, and you kind of blinded by it, and then before you know it, you're like in 30, 40 divs, and you're like, oh god, I'm in 30, 40 divs. What now? What now? So I'm just YOLOing this. And see, I was just showing you guys. Like, see, the first thing it's gonna target is the 100%. So I'm not gonna do that. Also, there are other omens like the dextro and the sinstrels that you can target either prefixes or suffixes only on situational purposes. You would only ever use these when you have a very nice tiered item. Don't use them when you have other rolls you have to do, or you have like multiple negative rolls. It's not worth it because these omens are expensive, 4 divs each. So you're using a dextro and a sinstro, just to target it. See, this is targeting just the prefix only, but guess what? The only prefix I have in these gloves are the accuracy, and it's already hit it with the fracture. So that's why you don't see it doing anything. But yeah, these are the ones that you can use to target certain things. If you have a really good item and you just need to target one specific stat, you'll be using double omen, which is going to cost you, up to 10 divs per chaos. But that's for like, really late game crafting. Don't even think about it. Like, if you have that, just sell it and save your divs and buy what you need. Most of the time, you have to really understand. You have to scrap your craft. It might be still good, but you don't have enough to invest into it. Don't sink yourself into it and then be obsessed with it. No one to sell. Someone else might buy it and be able to use it. That's fine, you know. So now I have all these 35% movement speed boots. Now the main thing is, once you have these, let's say you have a perfect boots where you have the 100%, you got your reses or all the stats you need, 35%. The next thing is you got to YOLO it. You have to corrupt it, because the only purpose of corrupting these is to get 2 sockets. Because if you like, these ones don't have the 100%, but I'm just saying, in example, see, I break the shit out of this, so it's done, it's dead. Um, it took away the 35% movement speed. So you want to get 2 sockets, and when you get that 2 sockets, you can either use it for yourself or you sell it, and they sell for big, because 2 socket with 100% increased socket modifier, whatever you put in there is going to double. It could be presence, it could be, whatever it is, but most of the time people will use movement speed, because this is how you get 55% movement speed boots. There are some players that are playing under 40% movement speed and they think that's great, and they're using all the passive points for movement speed. Imagine having 55% just in your boots alone, and you add on top of all the other modifiers, other passives that will give you movement speed. That's why you have, I love movement speed. I love moving the map fast. The days of temporalysis, whatever, it's gone. I love movement speed. I'll be honest with you. And this one of the main things for me is I have to be at 60 plus. 75 to 80 is really good if you have 55% movement speed boots, and if you're playing a ranger or you're hitting all the passives, great. You'll be flying through the maps. It feels really good. Boots that have great modifiers with 2 sockets and the 100% thing, they will sell for 50 to 60 divs 50 to 100 divs, depending on what the stats are and what tiers are. So very easy way to either sell the boots so someone that can craft it, or you will get lucky and craft it all the way to the end, and guess what? You'll be bombing. You're printing divs. So that's it for boots and gloves. I'm moving over to weapons now. Weapons are a lot harder to craft. I see a lot of people on global. Is this good? Is this good? Can you get a price check? You have to understand. I craft for Amazon bows because I look for accuracy. It's one of the best ways to get more damage for Amazon from their passive. 25% of accuracy on weapon is converted to flat damage, which is amazing. So you hit a T2, T1 accuracy on a Gemini bow. Now there's two type of bows. Gemini, like how they're boots. There's Gemini and there's twins. Twin bows will roll lower. Geminis will roll higher. As in, +2 arrows only roll on Geminis. On twins, they generally don't roll on twins. +1, from what I know, from what I'm seeing. Also, Geminis will have higher base rolls. Higher base. When you quality them. So you want to get the desired Gemini roll. As you can see, these are some of the bows that I've kind of finished, but I haven't really want to put more into. If I were to whittle this, it would hit the accuracy. I have a T3 accuracy right now. I don't really want to. I want to get rid of the 100% increased elemental damage. But for me to do that, I would have to roll this accuracy into a T1 accuracy. I don't know what one is going to be. And for me to do that, I have to use 2 omens because I have to target the bottom, the suffix, and also prefix, and also hit the T1 for me to target a T1. For me to target that T1 right there. So, and like for example, this bow is a pretty damn good bow, but I have bonus damage T2. For me to try to roll this into a +2 arrow, very hard. So I had to kind of just stop there. I spent almost like 50 to 60, I think 100 divs on these bows already. And if I roll that, put the bonus away, one is I'm gonna risk removing it for something else, and two, once I do it, I better have enough divs to keep going until I get a +2. Or if it hits a tier 1 that it's gonna be bigger than my 100 my T2 fizz percentage, then the bow is dead. So I'm not risking it. I'm using it. I'm leaving it as is, or I can sell it for like 400 or 500 divs. It will sell fairly easy. The right buyer. We're late in the game right now, and there's a few project bows I have here. It has good crit base, and I got some accuracy on here. I can do a lot of things with this. If I whittle, I would whittle the life on hit. But you see why I don't want to work on this bow, because I have to get rid of the reduce requirements. I have to get rid of a lot of things, even the increased elemental damage. So that tells me it's going to be a lot. This is a 50, 60 to 100, if not plus divs of whittling that I need to do. Do I want to spend that currency in there right now? Probably not. But this bow is pretty decent. As in someone can literally still use this bow and kill Zets with it. And I probably could sell it. And someone else want to invest into it and craft it, fine. See, this is a twin bow. Twin bows roll +1. It's a tier is 81 plus. So 81 plus item level is going to be the only ones that are going to give you +2 arrows, +1 and +2. But you cannot go under 81 and get a +2 arrow. So there are a lot of players that want to get +2 arrows, and they're using a base that is impossible in the roll, like under like a item level 80, and they're just sitting there trying to chaos it to get a +2. It's not going to happen. You have to understand the item level and also the tier levels. Now they've changed it. Tier 1s are the best, and then tier 5s are the worst. So it's a lot easier for you to kind of understand. So like I have all these crafting bows here that I can craft. So if I were to whittle this, it would hit this cold damage or the mana on kill. I think in this video I did kind of throw like a couple of divs into these bows and stuff like that. But you can see, like, for me, whittling is better. Because I have a T3 accuracy. It's not that great. Why would I use an omen 5 divs where I can just take that 5 divs and turn it into 100 chaos and just sit here and just chaos? Because I already sealed in the crit, and the other 3 modifiers not desirable. I can just spam chaos for like 2-3 divs, and hopefully I'll get a T1 accuracy or a +2 arrow. At that point, I have 4 modifiers, and I'm gonna start whittling. That's the only time when it's worth it for me to whittle. So I would never whittle right now at this point until I have at least two modifiers that are good. And why do I not roll EX in here? The more exalt you roll in there, it gives you more modifiers than when you hit the chaos, and that just increases the randomization. And you want to start crafting it slowly. You have two modifiers, boom, crit, maybe T2 T1 accuracy, or maybe a T1 fizz plus 2 arrow. Then now you don't have to worry about two other modifiers you have to fix, and you can whittle just those two and fix it. And once you fix those, then you roll EX into it, because you want to get all the T1s, T2s first, because whatever bad modifier you roll when you roll the EX, that can always be targeted with your next whittle. And then you know if it's worth it or not. I'd rather spend 5-10 divs chaosing than hitting two whittles and like, oh, I got shit. The chaos will give you more randomization and also a better bang for your buck when you're gambling. So I threw out 5 divs in that bow in chaos. Didn't come out anything that came out of it. I'm gonna put it away. Oh, or else I think I'm gonna do more actually. But like I said, it's gambling, right? Here, another 5 divs. Oh, now I'm throwing 5 divs into it. Earlier I threw about maybe 40 chaos into it. And you might think, oh, 5 divs, 10 divs, you just spent it and got nothing. Trust me, if I were on a binge to whittle, 100 divs whittling happens in like 20 seconds. And it's still shit. But for me to be able to sit here and just spam chaos and, potentially hit a good modifier, way worth it. This is end game crafting. If you don't have the currency, you're not doing this. But what's the alternative? This bow could turn into 100 div, 200 divs, 300 divs easily. You know, just from just hitting these chaos and then rolling some, getting some lucky rolls. You want to be lucky, but you want to actually just, try to limit yourself so that you're not wasting currency. What I'm doing right now is wasting currency that I do have. If you're a player that's casual, you don't have that currency, you can sell bases. You drop a bow, a white bow, you roll an augment, you roll a transmutation, you get crit, or you get like a T1 fizz or T1 accuracy. Guess what? You have 2 great rolls there. Sell it. Sell as a base. Someone like me will buy it. Or a hideout warrior will buy it. Very easy. Just gotta sell it. And then you make your divs right there and then. You don't have to risk gambling. If you're not a gambler, you don't have the currency to gamble. The only gamble you need is the augment and a transmutation. Or you get a lucky drop, you're running an 81, map, or you drop a white bow or a magic bow on the boss. I've had one where I dropped a magic bow. It was 4.8% crit. I think the one you saw earlier, and it had a T2 fizz, 169% physical percentage. Already, I already knew I wanted to craft that bow, or I can sell that bow as is, and still be good enough, make my 5-10 diff and move on. It cost me nothing. It was a drop. So a lot of times, you guys kind of, when you see a white bow with high, with a high eye level, you roll an alchemy into it. Don't do that. You want to roll augment and you want to roll a transmutation, because you want to give the buyer, if you're selling just bases, the ability to use essences to roll the next one to get it to a rare, and it costs you nothing. So that's how you are crafting for casuals. You're not crafting the final item, you're just crafting what you need, as in, to sell as a base. Bases sell a lot more than you guys think. You can literally make hundreds of divs just selling bases and let other people gamble. So here we're looking at chess pieces. Now, chess pieces are a little bit different and more expensive, because the essence of hysteria, what it does, it turns a magic item into a rare, but it adds a notable. It could be overwhelming strike, it could be true strike, it could be any of the notables at random. Now imagine having a desirable notable already in your chest. You're saving a anointment, you're potentially saving a megalomaniac. It's crazy when you craft a chess piece. But we have to look for magic chess piece, a white chess piece that has high eye level for one, 81 plus. It has to be if you look at these two jackets, the reason why they're the same, but one doesn't have a 5%, is because they're a different tier. One is a lower tier than the other, so that's why it doesn't have the 5%. You can tell because the maximum level is like 65 instead of 78. You want to look for it level requirement to be 78. Now, I have this chest here. The I think sleek chest is oh, it's only 5 dibs. Yeah, 5 dibs, 4.5 dibs. I'm not gonna spend 5 dibs. I'm gonna turn it to chaos first. Then I'm gonna use it to buy chaos. So I want to craft this sleek chest, and I'm gonna, for the purpose of the video, use 4.5 divs to show you guys. So the one thing about this is I don't want to spend 4.5 divs unless the chest is gonna be great. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna use a annulment first and try to remove the T1 stun ratio before I even think about slamming this thing into there. So, you know, I'm gonna grab the annulment. I think. Yeah, sorry guys. I'm doing a voiceover after I recorded the video. So this is the most desirable chest, the highest roll. Isn't like when you get the highest ES evasion rating chest. So you don't want to waste anything on something that's gonna be like a lower rating, stuff like that. And don't even bother. So the sleek jackets are definitely the best ones. I hit that. I was so happy. I could sell this right now if I wanted to, but I'm a gambler and I'm a crafter, so I added it and I got nourishing ally. That's a waste. Like that's a dead chest right there. I mean, yeah, maybe I can roll some other stuff there and make it great, but you have to understand that modifier, it takes up a slot. So it takes up a prefix slot. So I would have to roll like a T1 ES evasion. Hopefully it don't hit like a mana. But you see how if I try to whittle right now, just like how the other modifiers are, that's the first thing that's gonna hit. That's why it's important for you to, at this point you have to do 2 more modifiers, then fracture, and hopefully you fracture the anointment, and then you're safe to spend hundreds of divs and whittling it away. But other than that, if you don't hit it with the fracture, guess what? Any whittling attempt you do is gonna hit that first, and it's gonna be a waste. So I'm done with that chest. It's nourishing ally is not something that is not a desirable. It's a waste pretty much. But I'm scrapping it. I'm not gonna try to freaking whittle or EXS shit or anything like that. But yeah. So now I'm gonna do it again with this chest. This is the first time I'm actually using the chest one. I've been saving it. It's very hard to find the base. To have a T1 or T2 evasion or something like that, you only want to do it when you have the T1 or T2 evasion, guys. Like, don't even think like, oh, maybe I'll fix it later. No. Like, this one has a T2 energy shield and also a T1 lightning res. Great. This is worth it for me. And I'm going to hit it, and guess what I got? Seeing stars. Stun build up. Oh, God. I don't have... I'm not streaming this, but I don't have streamer luck, Why couldn't it be overwhelming strike? Why couldn't it be freaking pure power? I feel like GGG added this option in there just for the degenerate gamblers, because this is a very degenerate gambling. Do you know how many nobles there are out there? Like, you'd have to hit like a perfect noble. You're lucky. I ended up just slamming on these things and just whatever, because they're both shit, nobles anyways. But yeah, it is what it is. At this point, we're pretty much reaching towards the end of the video here, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to just like drag on too long, but hopefully this video was helpful for a lot of you guys that are crafting casually or want to craft hardcore. You can see I probably spent about 40 dibs already just messing with those boots and the omens and stuff like that. And yeah, just I made a mistake here. I had the widow still open, and I tried chaos, and it just removed my nourishing seeking stars, but it's whatever. So this video gonna cost me like 40 50 discs, which is nothing for me anyway. To be honest, I just craft bows and sell bows, and I make 200-300 off a bow easily if I wanted to. And we're towards the end of the late game. I just want to do this video because I've been promising crafting for casuals, but yeah, the rest of the video is just me slamming shit. But anyways, thank you guys, and I know this video kind of went a little bit too long, about 30 minutes, but if you guys are still here, thanks for watching. And yeah, hopefully I'll do another video where actually I might do a live in the future where I just like give away stuff in my stash. I have a whole bunch of good stuff in my stash for any players that need it. All right, thanks guys, bye.